Okay, so one of our GTL viewers named iamalwayswrite, right spelled WRITE, and he posted this in a few of my videos and it's titled 50 Reasons Why You Should Avoid the US. This list that he made, it's amazing. I mean, it's everything that we've been experiencing over the last 15 months. Or stop it. Co-host is playing on my desk. You know when the cats they do the tapping thing and they knock things over the desk? Yeah, she's one of those cats. So I just have to play catch before the thing falls. But back to what I was saying. This list from I Am Always Right. It's 50 reasons why we shouldn't go to the United States. And they're all reasons that I've mentioned on my channel, whether extensively or just briefly. So what I did is I put them into like 6 different categories, and I'm going to read out each category for you. I know some of the GTL community wanted me to create this video so that they can forward it to their friends and family who are still going to the United States. So I'm going to do my best to explain each one of them. Now, just a heads up, if I sound a little bit different today, I have a bit of a cold right now. I think it's turning into a fever. But I'm going to try my best to get this video out for everybody. But I do have some help from back home though. Before I left, I grabbed 2 bags of Buckley's lozenges. I mean, these taste better than the actual liquid. I mean, if you're Canadian, you know what Buckley's is, and you know how bad it tastes. I knew eventually I would get sick over here, and I wanted to make sure that I had some stuff that I'm familiar with. Okay, let's get into the first category, which I labeled surveillance and monitoring. And let me read out what I Am Always Right listed out. ICE buying your private cell phone data. Customs inspecting USB drives, GoPros, GPS, dashcams, and drones. Phones, laptops, and vehicle inspections plus confiscation. Hidden CBP license plate readers tracking your every move wherever you go in the United States. 5-year social media background check. Biometrics plus visa-free stays for over 30 days. Random fingerprints and mandatory photos for under 30-day stays. ICE videotaping protesters for a domestic terror database. Now, these are just some of the things that we know about that they're monitoring. I mean, we know that ICE and Homeland Security are in Canada working out of the consulates. And we also know that they're taking our DNA as well, or requesting the DNA or denying us entry if we don't provide it. And, oh, stop it. Sorry about that. She knocked something over. But what I was trying to say is that this list that we're seeing right here is not complete. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of stuff that we don't know about that's still happening. But the fact that this list exists when it comes to monitoring and surveillance does make me a bit uneasy. Now, I know some of the stuff in this list right here, it happens in other countries as well. Mainly the biometrics, fingerprints, and mandatory photos. I mean, if you take Singapore, for example, the world's #1 ranked airport in the world, they don't even have custom guards anymore. Well, they do, but what I'm trying to say is that it's all automated e-gates now. And you only talk to the customs officer if something's wrong. But during this automated process, they take your photo and your fingerprints, and also scan your passport as well. I mean, the whole process, last time I was there, it took less than 10 seconds. But dozens, if not hundreds of countries are starting to move this direction. And your fingerprints and biometrics is going to be with every country. I mean, there's nothing we can do to stop that. But the biggest problem I have is the country that's actually holding it, and not knowing what they're actually going to use this data for. What database they're going to put you in. What profiling database maybe. I don't know. I mean, we just don't know what they're going to do with it. And why would they need our DNA? If you follow my channel, you might have remembered this report I did a while ago, where a Canadian was visiting his cousin, I believe, and the CBP border guard asked him for his DNA sample. But everything in this list that I just read out when it comes to monitoring and surveillance is not helping us trust the United States right now. Now, moving on to the next category, which kind of relates to the first one. These line items are about detention and due process. And let me read it out for everyone. Border guards taking DNA samples before refusing entry, just like what I just said. Armed ICE agents stationed at hundreds of airports. ICE paid as a bonus per arrest, detaining innocent visitors for cash. Interrogations by hostile border agents. Innocent Canadians detained, including children. Billions spent on new mass detention warehouses. Alligator Alcatraz, stripped, shackled, and starved. No due process deportations for 50 plus countries. Indigenous status cards ripped up at the border. Now, I know the haters are going to say, hey, GTL and your commenter, you guys are making this stuff up. We're not making it up. You can go ahead and Google each one of these line items, and there will be articles all over the place. But everything that I just read out here in this section have been experienced by Canadian or international travelers that do want to go to the United States. But just looking at this list right here, I mean, this is, to me, this is not a welcoming country. I mean, you got everything in the first section that I had, and then you have this one as well. Even if you have your documentation and everything all in order, or even if you have a Nexus card, that still might not be enough to get you to the United States. I read somewhere that there's still 77,000 people being detained at the moment. But what it doesn't count is how many Canadians or how many international travelers got to the United States, talked to CBP, were power tripped at the CBP desk, asked ridiculous questions, pulled into secondary, and then let through to the United States. That's a stat we don't have. Because according to the US government, that would be part of the 99.9%, what they're saying, of people being let through. Yes, they might be let through, but how many of them were treated like shit? I bring up this guy again because I recall him saying that in order for him to go to the United States or be admissible, he had to give his DNA sample, which is not a good experience. So he obviously did because he wanted to see his cousins, and he was admitted into the United States. That would obviously count for somebody being able to go into the United States with no problem, but it's also not factoring in the attitude that we're receiving. Now, for those that continue to want to go and ignore all the warning signs, it's actually a lot harder for us to go to the United States. In this section here, I don't know what to call it, maybe just travel to the United States, lists all of the issues that are going on when it comes to travel and flights to the United States. Now, let me read this list out to you. FAA recruiting gamers to fill air traffic controller shortages, rising aviation collisions, flights from Canada dramatically cut, airport hell, sleeping on the floor, missing your flight, unpaid TSA staff causing chaos, unpaid CBP agents causing chaos, ramped up outbound exit inspections leaving the US. I forgot about this one. Confusing new I-94 forms that may never get checked, proof of domicile paperwork demands, 350 Canadian surcharge just to visit the national park. Now, the commonality with this one is that everything here is unpredictable. I mean, we don't know when another aviation collision is going to happen, but it seems like it's every month these days. We don't know when there's going to be another government shutdown. And the I-94 form, I mean, there was a big hoo-ha about that. Canadians filled it out, and the border guards were the ones saying, oh, you don't need this. All of this confusion, all of this unconfirmed details and unpredictability, all of this revolves around what Professor Wayne Smith talked about in the last video that I had him help me with. It's basically about trust and safety. If you don't feel safe when going to the United States or being inside the United States, to me, that's not a vacation. Traveling to the US or crossing into the border shouldn't be a stressful situation. Now, I know the haters are going to say, well, going to the United States, it's a privilege, and they don't have to let you in. Well, we'll make it easier for them. We're just not going to go anyways. Now, this next section here, I mean, if people still want to go into the United States, this is what they're going to get. There is a progression in terms of all these categories that I'm doing. So the last one, I think all the Canadians are going to like it. But let me read out this section to everyone. Las Vegas, now a sad ghost town. Hotels and cities slashing services. Laying off, looks deserted. Now this one here, the hotels laying off. I've done plenty of reports on the border towns who are basically complaining that their revenue has been dropped because we're not doing cross-border shopping anymore. I've also done reports in Las Vegas where hotels are starting to cut like concierge and valet parking. And I've also done reports out of Florida, the state where DeSantis lives, where hotel owners are literally begging Canadians to come back.
I am concerned about the negative impact on that.
For Faulkner, it already has.
Please, to all the Canadians, we love you. Please come back.
Let me think about that. No, we're not going to come back. And go talk to your governor. Now let me read out the rest of this section. Gas prices climbing with no end in sight. Yeah, I mean, this one here, I mean, even if we're not going to the United States, we're still affected. And I think that's what really pisses everybody off. Dollar differential. Way more bang for your buck in Portugal, Mexico, Costa Rica. Soaring U.S. travel health insurance costs. Fast rising home insurance. Americans care nothing about you, just your wallet. Now, I was going to say that health insurance costs and home insurance costs doesn't have anything to do with us. But I realize it does. Because the snowbirds. I've had a few snowbirds email me and tell me that, rising house insurance costs and insurance costs in general also played a factor in them leaving the United States. With this last bullet point, I think every Canadian following my channel can actually relate to this one. Americans care nothing about you, just your wallet. Now, I know a few of the GTL community members said that they're going to forward this video to some of their, people in their inner circle that are still going to the United States. And I'm going to direct this part of this video to them. If you are still going to the United States, you have to realize that they don't care about you. And when I say they, I'm talking about like the businesses and events and shops and people that you're spending money with. They only care that you're filling up their cash register. Any U.S. tourism official or business person or anyone that says that we are family, we are friends, we have lots of history, I would love to ask them, what is your thoughts in terms of what's happening north of the border and all of our businesses that are affected by your U.S. president? What are you going to do to support our businesses north of the border? My guess, they're not going to have an answer. And I'm also going to guess that some people don't even know that outside of their borders, the rest of the world is affected as well. What I'm trying to say is that this quote-unquote friendship or history or family that we've used to have with the United States, in my opinion, it's been a lie. And it's been a one-way friendship, and the true colors are coming out now. Okay, let me clarify when I said family. I'm not talking about like bloodline family. I'm talking about these border states and these tourism officials and businesses saying that we're family to them. Now, this next section, I don't even know what to call this. Like, clown show, I guess? But what we're going through right now isn't just about the last 15 or 16 months that have happened. The overall culture of the United States is also under the microscope as well. Let me read out the points in this next section. Random massacres at concerts, theaters, churches, grocery stores, and schools. New open carry states. Assault weapons at the coffee shop, just like the picture I'm showing you right now. Perverse gun, drug, and crime culture. US-Iran war escalating day-to-day risk on US soil. Now, this one here actually brings up a good point. I mean, obviously, we know 9/11 happened, and we know that the United States is not making friends with anybody. And in fact, it's just creating more enemies globally, but also internally as well. In my opinion, and this is just me thinking out loud, what's going on right now is just setting up another possible risk in the United States. And I think that's something that nobody wants to be near. Now, moving on to the other bullet points. US declaring itself a Christian state, other faiths at risk. One of the world's most unstable countries, recently threatened 5 nations. Ignorant Americans parroting Taco Tuesday threat. Growing American hostility towards Canadians. Now, I'm going to repeat it again. Everything that I'm reading out, all these different bullet points in the different categories, they are all factual. And you can go ahead and Google it yourself, and there's going to be tons of articles on it. But the one that actually really saddens me is the last one. Growing American hostility towards Canadians. I know the US citizens that follow my channel, you guys support Canada, and we really appreciate it. But unfortunately, your population is huge, and not everybody feels the same way. Whenever I'm on the train, and I think that's where I got sick, and I start thinking about like this chaos that we're going through right now, the betrayal is always the biggest thing for me. And it's not just what's happening in general right now. I mean, my inner circle, well, I wouldn't really call them inner circle anymore, but I used to have people that were close to me in the United States, and, I thought they would always have our back. And probably, a year ago, that's when I started seeing the 51st Day BS on their social media feeds. And that was a betrayal right there. Our friendship was never political. I mean, I knew they were Republicans. But when I started seeing the 51st Day stuff on their feed, it really started making me wonder about the friendship, and was it even real to begin with? And I'm sure I'm not the only Canadian that's recollecting all of our relationships or friendships that we've had. Now, this last section here, I consider it about our sovereignty, and I gotta get this finished soon because I can feel my fever starting to pick up again. Annexation threats, 51st State, redrawing the border, calling PM Carney governor, continued escalations of attack on Canada, threats to seize Canadian natural resources, Taco Tuesday's henchmen, conspiring with Alberta separatists, repeated CUSMA violations, and ignoring US and international law. This right here, I think, is the most important section I've read out, because it's about our own sovereignty. The 51st State rhetoric is not a joke, and I don't take it as a joke at all. And it is also something I'm never going to forget as well. I won't forget Taco Tuesday saying it, and I won't forget his supporters saying it as well. I also won't forget him and his followers calling our Prime Minister a governor. I also won't forget the US administration trying to strong-arm Canada and the rest of the world into complying into ways that they want. But most importantly, I will never forget the US citizens that did absolutely nothing, who went on about their day and played the victim. I'll also remember the shop owners that are blaming Canada for their 50% drop in revenue. Also the gaslighting from Governor Mills. I'm not afraid to say it, I can't stand her. Also the malls, which are now ghost town, blaming the exchange rates. And then the bourbon industry, who majority of them voted for Taco Tuesday, said it's unfair that we're pulling the liquor from our shelves. They might call it unfair, but I call it standing up for my own country. So I want to thank I Am Always Right for helping to post this in my videos. And you pretty much nailed everything I can think of. So for anyone that has shared this video with their friends and family, and if this is the first time you're watching my video, really consider why you're going to the United States. And also consider whether or not it's going to be safe for you to go. Now, to close off this video, I would like to thank Jonathan from our Discord server for posting this photo of the Klondike Highway in the Yukon. I love that the viewers are starting to help post photos from areas that we might not have seen before. And our global photo map that was created by Belgian and Curious is really starting to fill out. And focusing on Canada, we're definitely starting to see more of the blank areas being filled up. Why do I have a photo of like Kansas and Las Vegas? I don't remember doing that. Anyways, appreciate your help, Belgian and Curious. And thank you, Jonathan, for sharing this with the community. Alright, I really need to lie down. I'm not going to do my typical outro. I'm a bit too tired for that. Thanks, everyone. I'll catch you in the next one.